You know, a wife beater is a wife beater is a wife beater. Nothing changes. I have a dude all up in my grill that lives on a different continent that beat both his ex-wives, and now he's busy beating up a woman that ain't even his wife, living all the way in Africa. This wife beater imagines that insofar as the distance is here, that the victim in question is just gonna survive. Not survive, sorry, but die. I'm actively trying to multitask here. I'm doing a couple of things at the same time, but I'm telling my tale as a battered, not even wife, just the victim of some stalker. And I guess I will keep talking about the stalker until I get out from this, because that's just the thing about stalkers and wife beaters. People that love to abuse women, they need, absolutely, entirely rely on these women being alone. They're a particular grain of man that need their victims to have no one, to have no family, no support. So hiding behind glasses are the women that come into their lives, because absent of them hiding behind glasses, it becomes clear that they're battered. And since it doesn't show with me, given that this dude is doing it from a distance, punching bag have always been his women. It's just that basic. Since it's not going on with me, the Lord saw it fit to show you just what this man is doing to me in the spirit. Not that you'll do anything about it, but I'm currently just kind of, you know, picking a bone with the United States of America right now, because they're the ones that have unleashed this wife beater on the shores of Africa. And frankly, there is absolutely nothing I can do about him other than talk about my experiences as a battered woman. I'm not even his wife. Like, I'm just a battered woman. A random stranger on the street that some filthy animal found. And he imagined that, like, he literally looked into my ecosystem. He gauged my circumstance. He looked at my situation and was like, "Oh, this is a perfect woman for me," because I just cannot stop laying my filthy, grubby, stank-hair, dingy, animalistic hands on a woman. But there's just a thing about women that have protection. There's just a thing about women who have protection. Alright, they're really hard to continue to abuse without apprehension, without prosecution, without their perpetrators basically just getting called out. So the thing about wife beaters is they tend to prefer their women generally unloved, generally unwanted, generally mistreated, generally abandoned, generally just struggling to get hurt at all, because then it makes for the perfect victim, a woman that you can just nicely control because nobody is coming for her. They either rely on those statistics for women, or women that do have people in their lives, just like me, but they could not care less what happens with this woman because of jealousy or an every man for himself mindset, something of that nature. They tend to love people who protect them in the lives of these women. So it's one of two types of ladies. One, they either have absolutely nobody, so they're a bit of an orphan, or they've got people. These people, however, are exploitative too. They don't care about what happens to their fellow female, their fellow man, just insofar as there's something in it for them. So basically mothers that operate like madam brothels towards their daughters, that look at their daughters as tickets for money or tickets for getting out of poverty or whatever. Or they're trying to flail their daughters as, like, you know, waving it around as a flag of pride. And insofar as their daughter can marry a particular man, this will just make the mother look good, irrespective of this mother, this man that is in this woman's life basically being an animal. And in my case, it's frankly a combination of both. I don't know if you guys have seen the movie. I'm not really sure if it's, no, it's not Diary of a Mad Black Woman, but it's one of those Medea movies. There's this guy there called, I think, Carlos, and he insists on marrying this one chick by the name of Lisa. And he's just abusive, and it's the mom. The mom is the one that insists that Lisa marries Carlos because there's in it financially for her. Something financially for her. And then What's Love Got to Do with It with Tina Turner, if you've seen that. Tina runs to her mother one time after Ike Turner has beaten the living daylights up out of her with her children. And when she arrives at the bus station, there's Ike Turner to pick her up with the children, because the mom basically made a call and told him that your wife is on her way here, you better come get your wife. Yeah. Or she just is abandoned, nobody cares about her, so she just gets thrown to the dogs. These guys love women like that. Yeah, they absolutely adore themselves, women that have got no support, no protection. And the thing also that works out for them is for these women to also be really great generally. Like they like really good girls. Excellent finds, frankly. Any other guy would be like, frankly, just frigging blessed to have her. But like, they don't get found by regular guys because they're thrown in the rough. Because they're diamonds in the rough. And the lazy little bugger's not going to be digging up any diamond or anything of that nature. They hope to just pick it up on the side of the street. They hope to be blessed enough to basically pick up a coin on the side of the street, a 100 Rand note on the side of the street, instead of actually go to work. So they're bargain hunters like that. They are much like poachers in the wilderness. Like, they do an illegal activity to get something, an illegal activity to get something of high value, but they gotta do it underhanded and shoddy in their disposition because they just don't have the license to get it the right way. They don't have the moral character. They don't have the clout to the street cred. They don't have the virtue necessary to actually get a really good girl, a gem. So they actively go out of their way to hunt for diamonds in the rough. And when they find them, they become really incredibly abusive, extremely strikingly persecuting. And it is, like I said, definitely the rough that draws them. It's the fact that they are in an unseemly environment. It does not necessarily, it does not, what is this? It doesn't suit them. And they bring these women into their spaces, and being entitled to the love of these women, however, being very aware of the fact that they don't suit these women. They're frankly out of her league. They don't make sense. They then become passive-aggressive and abusive, these narcissists. And then they start to beat her up like this. Like whatever is going on with my face right now. They go and they grab a really beautiful woman and put some blue eyes on the system. They go on right ahead to make out of a lady somebody that is barely recognizable. So the chick gotta keep on wearing some shades, you know, every single day, walking around society, walking around the office, walking around the mall, walking around the grocery store, walking around the park with kids that don't know what exactly under heaven is the danger that their mother that is about to be on a cold bed is in, walking around in a society basically incredibly battered. But you see, that's just the thing about battered women, especially battered women. Usually men that are suffering, struggling, disregarded, and treated like rubbish are men about it. And they tend to, I don't know, just kind of, they hustle, they grind, and they've got big muscles to punch anyone that stands in their way. But battered women, yes, like it. There is nothing more repelling in society to protect than a battered woman. People find us heavy. People find us heavy. People find us inebriating. We basically make society drunk with sorrow over this. Absolutely. Yeah, the way everybody just looks at us on some, she's bruised again. She's battered again. Oh my goodness, she's got a blue eye again. Goodness gracious. She's rocking shades again, so that little random must have started. So they start to effectively become repellers. They're like an insecticide, a natural one, that just wards off society. A battered woman, just like this, is like in the movie The X-Men, the series of X-Men. I don't know if you guys have seen The X-Men. If you have, great choice. Love it. Okay. Yeah, no, there is this character there by the name of Rogue. You know, this ex-lady by the name of Rogue. Rogue, her little superpower is an unfortunate one. She can kill some villains. Ooh, man, can she decimate some villains. But Rogue struggles to fall in love the right way. Rogue struggles to basically have affectionate relationships with people. She struggles to have friends and, I guess, romance, because Rogue's power is her skin. Like when people hug her, when they touch her with their flesh, there is some electrical force or some charge, some spiky juice of a venomous nature that comes out of her and basically starts to infect her prey. So how, not her prey, but her victims, how it is that Rogue therefore decimates enemies. Yeah, she gets taken in by Charles Xavier at that school for mutants. How she handles her enemies is just by touching them. When she touches a person, a whole bunch of juice gets out of their body. A whole bunch of energy, electricity basically starts to kill the victim, and if she does not break away from them like within a certain amount of time, they get finished off, they die. So she basically chars her victims to death. She electrocutes her victims to death. And this thing is not something Rogue just wants to do, because, you know, she's got the Midas touch, but with electricity or that venom, whatever it is. In the sense that everything she touches, everything, just like King Midas, gets turned into gold. So, I mean, you don't want everything to get turned into gold. You don't want your child getting turned into gold. You don't want your whole house being gold. You just want only the things you turn into gold to turn into gold. But unfortunate for Midas, everything turns into gold, meaning that even the people that she loves get, you know, charred into an electric little ball of burned something. She is a little ball. Everybody she touches gets turned into a little ball of charred something. Yes. And so, frankly, she would much rather not have the gift. That's what's good. She would much rather not have the gift, because then it means she can love properly. She can hug her friends, her mom, her dad, her cat, and a dog. She can hug her husband. She can kiss him on her wedding day at the altar. She can do what she wants to do. And just because of like 5 or 10 random ugly people on the street that she can decimate with her gift, who deserve it, who have it coming, the majority of the world around her, frankly, does not want to die and does not need to die. They don't deserve to die. And so Rogue has like this problem. She goes to Charles Xavier's school. They give her some gloves. They give her some funny little outfit to make sure that she's not so chargy, so electric to everybody. But it's still not 100%, because when she falls in love with this one guy, even when she's wearing her little body armor, because their faces touch each other, it's just literally contact with her physical body and another person's body that messes up. So she could wear like a whole hazmat suit, but really you can't kiss a person in a hazmat suit, you know what I'm saying? Then the boyfriend guy starts to die, and that's when she just feels really sad for having this mutant gift. That's what's good. Women that are battered are like Rogue. Very unfortunately, they are like Rogue. They're generally innocent. There's nothing at all that they are guilty of having done to hurt society, but society is avoidant of them because they are inebriating, and their little electric charge makes everybody want to run away. That's what's good. So support for a battered woman comes from nowhere, but from other battered women. You know, misery loves company. But how many in your neighborhood battered wives do you know? In the apartment building where you be living, where do you know some battered females? How many girls that you go to school with come from abusive households where daddy rapes her, where mommy slaps her, where brother pushes her against the wall? Frankly, I never had one in my crew of girlfriends. Why? Because they're rare. They're few and far between. So they get ostracized by society as if though they're not already in a lot of pain. Nobody wants to hang out with them. They're a sob story. You listen to it only once or twice, but afterwards it's like, oh, there comes the girl with the story. She's gonna wear me out. She's gonna exhaust me. She's going to get me tired. I am going to grow some fuzzy mold on me just by being in the presence of this exhausting woman. I can't do it, so then she is avoided. She stops getting invited to the party. She stops getting spoken to. Every time she walks in the room, there is an awkward silence between everybody. People don't want to share their happy lives because they know hers is a sappy life. That's what's good. So this avoided woman just generally keeps to herself, and just experiences a very sorrowful solitude, where in the absence of getting herself out from underneath the abuse that leaves her looking like this, okay, yeah, no, she will never be normal in society again. She will never be embraced. She will never be accepted. She has a gift like Rogue, basically, to electrocute everyone that comes into her space. But unfortunately for her, she doesn't want that gift. And the thing that has given her this gift is her freaking abuser. Yeah. Her abuser has made her avoidable, even though she's a really great girl. Really, frankly, could make for a really great best friend. Could make for an excellent maid of honor. Could make for that girl that's not going to be jealous because you got proposed marriage to. She could be the best friend you never had. But because she's abused, she's so exhausting to be around, always hanging out with that blue eye. She's always wearing those shades every day because somebody has made her a punching bag. You see, abusers take for granted the rogue nature of their victims. The fact that everywhere they go, people generally avoid them because nobody wants to hang out 24 hours a day with a woman with a blue eye. She's heavy to take in your stride. You can, if you volunteer at a woman's shelter for the day, for the weekend, talk with her for a couple of hours, but you ain't trying to hang with that chick every day. What's the only way out of this? What is the only way to make a rogue? Basically to cure her from her superpower that she didn't sign up for. What under heaven is going to rescue Rogue from a superpower? And it's a superpower to a certain extent, because if you think about it, a battered woman, a beaten woman, and a woman that has been, who has had life basically take a toll on her, is a nice little repellent. Like I said, she's like a pesticide and an insecticide, very generalistically. So just in the same way that Rogue can get rid of criminals real quick, she unfortunately also gets rid of people she wants in her life. So a woman that is like Rogue, I don't think she's abused where it is that she comes from, that's what's good, tends to avoid all male attention. She tends to avoid all scumbags that are shallow. She tends to avoid everyone that is a classist, everyone that is underestimating of a woman because of the socioeconomic conditions that she is in, everybody that doesn't have the energy to deal with a Cinderella. That's what's good. Yeah, no, she tends to avoid them just by mere virtue of being abused. Just by mere virtue of being abused, this woman avoids all the scumbags in the town. Because scumbag guys ain't trying to be the one to pat on the shoulder the sorrowful lady. Do you understand? It is not every scumbag out here in these streets that's trying to exploit a situation that is really awry, that's trying to basically sleep with anything with panties. Some scumbags are just scumbags because they would never ever actively cater to the needs of a damsel in distress unless there's something in it for them. There are some scumbags that won't go out of their way to have sex with a woman because frankly there's more where they came from. There are scumbags out here in these streets that aren't trying to put in the time that is required to freaking comfort that sorrowful girl. That girl that's just going through so much. Like there's 20 others that will drop their panties for me in a minute. There are scumbags of that nature that will avoid you simply because you're abused. So there is a superpower to being abused. I will admit to it. I have been pursued in this season by far less men than I got pursued by when I was still working in corporate South Africa, thriving, kicking it, go up and down some corridors. Yes, when I was still that woman that was safe and what have you, I got pursued by little monsters everywhere. I couldn't stand them. One's in the office, one's in my school, one's in the apartment building where I used to stay. They were just everywhere. They were annoying. I felt like John Wick and they were contract assassins. And then I got thrown into obscurity and my life literally went in a whirlwind and I was twisting in that wind. And all that was left were creeps that look for diamonds in the rough. All I was left with were these eerie, ghostly menaces. These It the Clowns. These Freddy Kruegers. These Jasons in Nightmare in Elm Street. Not in Nightmare, what is Friday the 13th. Basically, men who become the thing that goes bump in the night. Precisely in the same way that movies like It the Clown. Precisely the way that movies like Stranger Things shows. Precisely the way that Jason in Nightmare, Friday the 13th, go after children. They go after kids. So essentially a woman that has been reduced to the status of a child. She cannot take care of herself. She is dependent on some other forces. There is no one looking at, literally just the vulnerability of a child. So they become like Freddy Krueger, menace in the nightmare type establishment thing. And the thing that creates this nightmarish ecosystem for this unfortunate damsel is the abandonment of her person. And now this guy starts to rear his ugly head, giving her lollipops like It the freaking Clown, properly trying to lure her in with the appearance or a charade of care. Yeah, so the very same way that this little clown that is It starts to, like, you know, play some eerie music using a music box sound, looking like Chucky and Chucky's bride. is because you ain't got nobody. He lures you in the way that you, as a kidnapper at a park, would lure in a little child. With a sweetie, with a little gift, with an outfit of a clown, with a balloon. They use trinkets, shiny little things, that a woman that has not seen anything that shines in a very long amount of time, frankly, could use. They use money, they use comfort, they use support, they use the appearance of empathy and sympathy to lure them in. And this is because they know that these women, by attrition, have been filed down to ones who only need their basic needs met. Ones who need basic things met that other women take for granted. Basic things like tampons. Basic things like love, affection, and care. Basic things like regard for your person, being told, I love you. Being told you're amazing, being told you're gonna be okay tomorrow, being given money when you are basically groveling around on the floor sniffing nothing but dust. Like It the Clown, they lure you in with a day-gone lollipop. That's what's good. So they find women that are exactly just like children. Same way that this filter has made me look like a child. That's what's good. And they like, yeah, only that can I handle. So, I mean, really and frankly, beating men that make women into battered wives that rely on their ecosystems having no support or respect for them are frankly like pedophiles. They are glorified pedophiles. They should indeed be counted in that heinous acronym by the A to Z community. That's what's good. They should get a slot in there. It's a different kind of sexuality. It is an aberrant or a non-conformist sexuality that they've got. They are literally drawn to women who are like children. It is a fetish. So they're pedophiles. But you can't call them pedophiles because the women in question tend to be over the age of 18. So what do you call them? The other ones that were put in that heinous acronym are called MAPS, minor attracted persons. Yeah, that's what's going on with that heinous acronym community, trying to make pedophiles acceptable. What do you do with these guys? They've got a new sexuality. It's a different thing. America, and its like random, incredible, incendiary agenda has given people belief that they can fly like a bird out here in these streets, innovating all different kinds of menacing lifestyles and be accepted by a world that still wants to be sober. What shall we give them as an acronym? What shall we give these woman slapping randos an acronym? I'd like to know. If the ones that go for under 18s are called minor attracted persons and they have nicely fitted into the LGBTQIA MAPS TUVWXYZ hashtag squiggly sign dash and underscore community. Given that the MAPS dudes have found themselves in that particular community, these guys need to be brought into, because that community is about a different, like, it's about, you know, non-conformist sexual ideologies. It is about being a non-conformist, a heteronormative, that's what they call it. It is everything but heteronormativity. So given that these dudes are kind of heteronormative, but also absent of scrupules that historically were frowned upon, but now they're acceptable. America has made this abusive stuff acceptable. They've unleashed a minor attracted person on me. But I'm not a minor. I'm 39 years old. Don't look at this filter and this face making me look like I'm 2. I'm 39. So this dude would effectively just look like he got into a relationship with a regular woman, but he literally seeks out and has been seeking out all throughout his life. I ain't his first victim. I'm not. I used to be with this guy for all of 5 seconds and he explained to me the exact kind of women that he was with. The exact kind of women that, I was actually watching a YouTube little video of sorts. Spooky or Pookie. Is it Pookie or Spooky? Yes. One dude that I follow on YouTube who is a conservative in the United States of America describes these kinds of dudes as Pookie. Pookie or Spooky. P-O-O-K-I-E. What are Pookies? What are Pookies or Spookies? I forgot if there was an S or it's just starting with a P there. It's like these gang-banging random animals that are menaces to society like Dennis, but there's nothing cute about them because they're actually destructive. In the worst way, they reach society unto entropy. That is what is good. They do this to women. And there was like a little Pookie that got busted. He's now been apprehended by the po-po, but he had this like female on the left of him. in a car, a getaway vehicle, as he's trying to escape from the police, and he's busy kissing with the police cam, dash cam, the vehicle that they were in had a camera that was recording their activity. I don't know why it had a camera, if maybe they stole a police car or what, I don't know. But they were basically recording this little Pookie or Spooky, because he frankly is spooky, even though he's Pookie, just Pokey or Pookie, Popopo, whatever. Pookai. Alright? Pookai was busy kissing his girl, comforting her, telling her, we're gonna be good, baby. This woman ain't got no priors. She has never done a crime in her life. We got a Pookie in South Africa. It's called... We have a Pookie in South Africa. Hey? Yeah, we have a Pookie in South Africa. His name is called Thabo Bester. Basically a man that comes into the life of a woman and somehow makes her fall violently in love with him. I frankly think it has a lot to do with love spells and stuff. Okay? This woman is in danger like 24 hours a day. She's with a gangster. It's that basic. But this lady in question has no priors. She's very beautiful. She's never committed a single crime in her life. She is basically with a bright future, but somehow the silly little girl decides to go and fall in love with a criminal that she knows is a criminal, and supports the criminal's ways. Thabo Bester is a Pookie. Who's this? Pablo Escobar was a Pookie. Basically, a dude that is a criminal, but whose girl supports him. Whose woman supports him and his criminality because it brings bread home. Falling in love with a dude, making yourself a crime pair. You're Mallory Knox now, dealing with Mickey. You are Bonnie now, dealing with Clyde. Like you fall in love with an animal and then you allow yourself to end up being an accomplice to a crime. So now this lady is facing charges because she was done followed a Pookie around. She was the only one with a 9-to-5 job because she did not have a criminal record, and now she can never get a job again. Just like Pookie, she's going to struggle to ever work. If she gets released on a minor misdemeanor or community service or whatever, she will struggle to get a job at a regular Walmart or some like office building in corporate America. Because they don't want people working there that have got criminal records. Yes, this dude has been a freaking Pookie all his life. And he came into the life of a South African woman, and he imagined that he could convert me into whatever is the equivalent of Pookie's girl. Make me Tata Escobar. Make me the kind of woman that is content that her man is a thriving criminal, and that's how I get clothes on my body. That's how I get panties on my body. That's how I get tampons on my period. That's how I get food in my stomach. And so really, Pookie, do what you need to do, baby. Just don't get killed. For real? This dude was a criminal. He was still an operating criminal. I, however, was not aware of his Pookie vibes. And I eventually found them out through the fact that he's trying to kill me. Before I could even learn that he was Pookie, he done try to kill me. Because he went and took an HIV test and tested positive, realizing that that's a no-brainer. It is an absolute deal breaker. And that is what made him abuse me. Put all these bruises on my face because I said that HIV is a deal breaker. If at all this dude was not HIV positive, let's just talk about what would have happened to a sister girl. We need to go and give these bugaboos a name in that heinous acronymic society, because it is like a secret society, much like the Illuminati, because they have destroyed the earth with their random thing that they're doing, because now they've given Pookie bravado. That's what's good. They've given Pookie some bravery to come and put these blue eyes on a sister life. Yeah, that's what's good. Initially, when I was watching that YouTube video, I didn't even know what in the world they were talking about because I was not familiar with the term Pookie. I wasn't familiar with it at all. Yeah, until I got taught, Grand Sharp, what in the world is going on over there. These people have got an attraction to women who are like little girls. They don't have any self-respect, no self-love. They probably got daddy issues or whatever. Nobody's looking out for them. Nobody's telling them, no, don't date Pookie. Pookie's gonna hurt you. Instead, this woman only has girlfriends telling her, go on right ahead and be with Pookie because Pookie is the one for you. Like a society similar to the one in Jason's lyric, where it is that no woman can ever get a good man because every guy is a gangster. Every guy is a gangster. So because every guy is a gangster, even though you would much rather have a straight and narrow guy that is not out here wreaking havoc in the law, you end up falling in love with a fallen man because your city has got no good men. I don't come from that life, Pookie. I don't come from ghetto living. I am a snob. I grew up a snob in South Africa. I'm one of those annoying black girls that don't have a ghetto thing just going 24/7. If I was American, my name would likely be Tamara Or, I don't know, give me another name, maybe even Candace. Let's use Candace Owens' name. Since she's standing with a Pookie by the name of Andrew Tate. Listen up. My name would be Candace. It would not be Shekinah or Shanquitha or Shanae. My name would be, is properly one of those gentrified black names of a black girl that is a coconut. You know what a coconut is? It's basically a black person, apparently, allegedly, that is black on the outside but white on the inside. So, Pookie, dating gangsters? Yeah, it happens in the black community in South Africa. There are some pretty rough around the edges, strange black girls that keep on dating gangsters that beat them up, that put all different kinds of scratches on their bodies, that bring bread home through crime. Yeah, I met one when I was working at a call center. I actually became a friend of one. And the only reason she became my friend was because I was working in the call center. She was the closest one to me. And my boss paired me with her to get training. So we got close. This girl was into dating gangsters. One time she invited me to a party and I went. I was standing by a wall looking all strange, shriveled up, looking like a curled up fetus in a corner. The way I was so scared with the company around. Told myself that never again will I ever go to a party with her, ever again. I didn't let her know, but I just kind of made excuses thereafter. Gangster stuff where there's like a whole bunch of drag racing happening all over the show. Women wearing some funny little like sensuous outfits that made them look like prostitutes instead of actually looking good on the night when you're going out, and just a lot of ghetto-ness. Like, and the guy's walking around and when he's passing by, there's like a pistol in his like jean pocket. I was like, I've never been to anything of this nature. I'm not used to this. No, let me go to Melville, go 7th Avenue and go dance there and stop going to the patins go Dube. Yeah, ha! I met a girl like that. A little bit of a Taraji P. Henson and Baby Boy. That's what's good. I met a Taraji when I was working in the call center, and she was good people's just as Taraji was good people's and Baby Boy. But girl, let's keep this relationship in the office. That's what's good. That's what's good. After leaving that company, I absolutely refused to basically stay in touch with this cheeky because of the fact that I did not want her inviting me to all of her things. She went on right ahead to fall pregnant by a guy's something like 7th child. She was, oh my goodness, when I was working in the call center, I had barely exited my teens. And she had also barely exited hers. But she was already a baby mama, because that's just the thing about this chick. She was those kinds. She was those kinds indeed. So she probably had her first pregnancy happened when she was like 19 or whatever. At this stage, she's like 22. That's what's good. I'm like 21, 20. And here is this like random female with already one child by some other baby daddy, giving a guy with 7 other children a child. A guy that had a couple of arrests for domestic violence against girlfriends in the past. A guy that had a bad rap sheet, had been in and out of prison. She is only 22 or 3. And yes, she is busy dating a guy like this. He was a Pookie. And she was supportive of him. She was working a 9 to 5 in corporate South Africa because she did not have a criminal record. She was a relatively okay girl. However, one that's dating a guy that's in the system. A guy whose fingerprints are splattered all over computer screens of the SAPS, the South African Police Service. That's what's good. A dude that's seen more like holding cells on more weekends than this girl had ever seen a Pookie in her life. But she was fascinated by gangster loving because she thought that she was dating Coolio, living in a gangster's paradise. I also blame the environment that she grew up in, you know, typical Kasi vibes where don't nobody take care of each other. Like everybody is literally looking at everybody's suffering, everybody's sorrow, and they're like, it's every man for himself. So a girl that grows up in a town like that, a girl that grows up in an ecosystem like that will inevitably date the gangsters in the room. That's what's good. So my dear friend that dated a Pookie went and gave him baby number 7 or something, or 8, baby number 8 or something. Yeah, this guy that was just spreading his seed all over the show. That's what's good. Yeah, and on that day I was like, girl, I don't understand why you done did that. Yeah, well, he very typically did exactly what it is that he did to everybody else. One day she rocked up at work with a little bit of a, you know, blue eye, but she was trying to act as if though she fell down the stairs. Who falls down the stairs? Koka, see where there is no staired house. Who? Anyway, whatever. Here it is that this chick was walking around the office with a blue eye, and I was like, that's what you get for dating a Pookie. If he can beat up his exes, why wouldn't he beat you up? Anyway, I'm trying to explain to you guys that I've never been the kind of girl that way. I've never been that girl. I have never under heaven been that girl. to basically accommodate gangster dudes. I've been running away from them all my life because I was the snob. I was the irritating girl. I was the one that when I went to the hood, every girl there looked at me up and down like I stank because I think I literally defecate ice cream. That's who I've been all my life. This dude had no idea who he was dealing with. No idea. I was the snob. I was the black girl that will annoy you. I was the Candace Owens of Black America. That's what I grew up as. Do you understand? That's what I grew up as. I was never ghetto. I've never had ghetto friends except for that one girl. And so, me date a gangster. I had an ex-boyfriend that once tried to flail the fact that he used to take drugs, and I told him it's a deal breaker, and he stopped. So for some dude that is a criminal imagining that he is going to make like Pablo Escobar in my life and earn a living through crime, but at least that's how I eat, that's how I get shoes on my feet, that is how I get an electric blanket in winter in my bed. If that is what under heaven it is that I need to take in my stride now that I'm suffering persecuted in Christ, my goodness, how about you just change your personality 100%? They literally look for women who have been abandoned, who don't know what they could be, who don't know who they could be, who have lived in an ecosystem that has told them you are restricted and limited to this very attrition-fueled black thing you're doing, this ghetto gassy thing, this hard knock shikwene, shikwankwa, and shaniqua thing that you're doing, where you got some weird like ghetto nails and ghetto fingernails that are longer than, goodness gracious, the size of my neck, but you're hoping to get a job in corporate South Africa. Like that kind of lifestyle where the only job that you can ever look forward to doing as a black woman is to be a hairstylist in a salon in the local community. That is what this dude is used to. That's what he grew up near. Women that just take in their stride that every so often a man gonna lay his hands on you. That every so often a man's gonna slap you, and after he slaps you, comes back after 4 days having calmed down, says, "I'm sorry, baby," with some beer in his hand that has been covered by like a brown bag or whatever. And it's like, let's talk about it. I'm sorry, but you know I don't want to do this to you. You always provoke me, baby. Like a freaking wife beater, wearing a wife beater. Kind of man to slap his woman over and over and over again and never sees the inside of a jail cell, because the women in his community are used to getting beaten. Because the women in his community have got a typical ghetto lifestyle that has never ever taught them that they can have more, that they can do better, that it is possible 100% to be with a man that has no priors, that's never been inside a prison, that's never done drugs, to be with a man that actually goes to university, a man that actually has a desire to become a doctor, a man that has a desire to do a better thing. Yeah, that's what's good. I was among those girls that believed that, oh Pookie. Pookie, however, found me in a little bit of a compromised position for a season. And I had no idea that that's what this little animal was. I had no idea that that's what this little animal was until I started to talk to him. And then I was like, my goodness, what am I doing with a dude that's been to prison how many times ever since he was how old? What am I doing with a dude that has just told me that he used to, that being the operative like bunch of words, used to beat up his ex, beat up his girls, that he has basically the kind of guy that just releases a slap to a woman. Like he's just used to it. He's used to it. I have never in my life been hit by a boyfriend. Ever. Because I just never ever frequented those kinds of circles. I was never ever around those kinds of guys. Like ever. The kinds of guys that every weekend at a party, you hear some chick screaming. And when you go look at what's going on, she's being beaten up like no man's business. And everybody's standing around. His boys cheering him on, him calling her all different kinds of expletives, calling her the B word, the S word in our language, basically. Yeah, no, those are the kinds of things that I heard about from a distance, but never in my life have I personally ever experienced that. And never did I ever hang out with a bunch of girls that also experienced that, except for my cousin who got beaten up by a Pookie too. That's what's good. Yeah, so no, we're not doing this. Like, I've never been that girl. I've never been hit by a man that was not my boyfriend. And I say that was not my boyfriend because I've been slapped at a taxi queue once upon a time by a taxi driver, yeah, who felt entitled because he asked me out. I decided to get out of the queue and not take his taxi. He got annoyed and then decided to just, put a fast one on my face. I felt so violated, called the police. They didn't come, and guess what the police said? Why did you disrespect a taxi driver? That's South Africa for you right there. Yeah, okay, so ever since that experience, I have known to basically just be very avoidant of taxi drivers. However, I got a car really quickly, so that situation was fixed real fast and furious. Let me put this out there as a caveat: not all taxi drivers are nasty, okay? I've met some pretty excellent ones in my life. That's what's good. So, the whole experience with being a battered girl that stays in a relationship, making like, I'm never going back to him. Back in the day, Charlize Theron, South African actress in the United States of America, however, doing a Hollywood thing, came to South Africa to visit. It was when I was still a kid. And she did an advert, a campaign against gender-based violence in this country, where she was like, not black, but South African men, you need to basically just tell the world that you're a different thing because you're all abusive. The whole of the country rose up against Charlize Theron on some, now that you're in America, you think South Africa ain't jack, get out. Yeah, they went and told Charlize Theron to go back to America since she underestimates Africa. Since Sister Charlize underestimates... Oh, come on, what's going on here? Since Charlize Theron underestimates Africa, she must get out. Fast forward 10 years down the line, maybe 15. Ever since that ad campaign that she did, South Africa is the worst country to live in as a woman because of gender-based violence. So it turns out she was right. However, in that same campaign, with Charlize Theron being used as a voice, right? There was a woman that was beaten up. She was basically, they put makeup on her to look like she's been all battered and beaten and whatnot. And she kept saying, I'm never going back to him. And then, you know, when a cassette tape rewinds, yeah, they did the sound of a rewinding cassette tape. And then she would say that again, I'm never going back to him. 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 Yeah, and this was done in a loop to basically just teach women a lesson in the country that you need to leave a man if at all he keeps on laying his hands on you. Yeah, these pookies are used to women being like, I'm never going back to him. I'm never going back to him. I'm never going. Like, after he puts a blue eye, after he makes his woman a seboto, basically losing her beauty because of the scars he's put on her face. Yeah, she keeps going back over and over and over again. These ghetto brothers are so used to women going back to them after they slap them, punch them, throw them against walls, render them worthless, basically threaten everything they do. One time he was even priding himself and telling me a story about how he ripped the wig off her head. Do you know the, what do you call this, glue on a woman's wig? How painful it is when you remove it. It's like just ripping eyelashes off without being careful. Prided himself in just ripping that thing right off the skull. Like ripping it right off because he was irritated by what it is that he imagined was her cheating. But guess what? She went right back to him. Yeah. Prided himself in the fact that he has been slapping women silly, knows how to handle them, and no one has ever reported him to the police. More women ought to have put him in prison than he ever got given grief for. He never ever saw the inside of a jail cell for domestic violence. He saw the inside of a jail cell for all manner of kinds of other types of freaking crimes he was committing, but not that one. But the women, the trail of cadavers behind him that has slept women silly. That ought to have been the first thing to put him in jail. He has 2 ex-wives, and both of them were the victims of his gender-based violence. And this is the man that came into my life because he was looking for this kind of woman. Yeah, okay. What is going on here? Yeah, no, this guy, right, is used to women just constantly going back to him no matter what he does. Likely because he's also been manipulating them with witchcraft. He's been dating pookies all his life, or rather he is a pookie that women have been settling for all of their lives. He has only ever been with these ghetto females from the most ghettoest parts of Los Angeles, California, and Las Vegas. He is basically that kind of like stuff that we see in American movies that speak of the ghetto side of Black America. He is made up of all things of that nature, very stereotypically. Very stereotypically. Abusive, wife beater, drunk, drug, what is this, dealer, you know, yeah, that kind of stuff. Like, the scummiest of the most scummiest of American Black men pursued me. And I decided to take him seriously because initially when he spoke, he sounded like a decent guy. And that is the ambassador that is representing America to me as a South African. And all I am picking up is like an even worse off version of Tyrese and Baby Boy, because Tyrese wasn't a gangster in Baby Boy. Like boys in the hood. Yeah, exactly. Oh my goodness, like gross. Boys in the hood. Like maybe he might have gotten with a woman in South Africa that herself has just been roaming the streets of Zola, Deep Kloof and Fire, with gangster guys that are into drag racing and random irresponsibility, that just love to be in a gusheshe and jefela, just love to be driven around by a dude that is prolific in the city, that has a whole bunch of money because he's always committing crimes and whatnot, and is temporarily popular before he gets either gunned down by the police or arrested. Yeah, maybe if he had met a little bit of a slay queen of that nature in this country, like a girl that's used to being with such guys, he could have just slapped her silly with witchcraft, ignored her, ghosted her, gaslit her, and all that jazz. Instead, he happened upon a snob that just so happened to be going through crap. A snob that just so happened to be very severely persecuted. Like, that just so happened to be experiencing some pretty anomalous, weird, freaky, strange things from a family that never used to be like this. Somebody enduring spiritual war. That's what's good. He met a woman that is not the kind of woman that would ever look at a man like him, but in the rough. Basically, a diamond in the rough. And he made me a battered girlfriend, just like those random females. Bako deep lufu bajolang le maginza. Made me like the kind of girl that is from the very depth of Guguletu, that frankly does not care where a man gets his money from insofar as he's bringing it home. Yeah, we have those ghetto chicks in South Africa too, dude. I'm just not one of them. As a result of all that, now I am a battered girlfriend, except I'm not a girlfriend. I am a battered female. You know, when I was growing up, I grew up in the latter part of apartheid South Africa. I bet you've heard some of Trevor Noah's jokes when he speaks about that. Trevor Noah and I were born on the exact same year, 1984. So what he experienced, I can relate to. Now, I grew up in Soweto, and at the latter part of apartheid, there was a lot of rampant black-on-black violence and a lot of crimes not being apprehended because we were struggling in terms of racial divide. So criminals that were of a different nature, you know, those that take for granted a political civil riot, a civil war that is in question. How can I describe? They're like war criminals. Thank you. War criminals. Basically people who decide that they're going to take it upon themselves to exploit the war in question. There was a lot of that going on in Soweto. So we were always being told to be home by this particular time, lest you should happen upon. There were these guys called Jack Rollers. There was a Jack Roller by the name of Jack Brown. His name was Jack Brown, and he was known to basically take women and rape them. So make sure that you're not found walking up and down these streets after a certain time, because this dude is going to rock up with his gusheshe, his BMW, and just take you, have your body, and then either murder you or take you back to your family where you come from. And he never got apprehended, or maybe he did. I stand corrected. These Jack Rollers were basically taking for granted the civil war in the country. They were taking for granted that the police just could not get to them on time because they were dealing with all of these other riots, black on black violence, Inkatha Freedom Party, with the ANC and all that jazz. There was just so much strife in the land that a rapist in the middle of all this, goodness, what are we going to do? This guy reminds me of Jack Brown. He reminds me of those Jack Rollers at the end of apartheid that were ransacking young women's lives, raping them with them getting no justice at all. They literally take for granted the fact that there is a war in the ecosystem, and because of that war, there is not going to be any apprehension for the crimes, no prosecution for the crimes that they commit. These guys that worm their way like Janus and Jambres written off in 2 Timothy 3 into the lives of women that are going through a lot, that are not protected because there is a spiritual war in their ecosystem, are exactly like Jack Rollers. They get it Jack Roller. That's what they used to call it, Jack Roller. This Jack Brown guy that used to rape all over the show. Women, take them, and young girls, the teenagers coming back from school were taken by Jack Brown. I don't know, there's the show, currently they've put it on Netflix. I don't know though if it's available internationally. It's called Yizo Yizo. Alright, Yizo Yizo is an old show. When I was a kid, very young, growing up in high school, they were showing it. So it's quite old. However, it describes perfectly exactly what it is that used to happen in the days of apartheid to kids in the gassies, to kids in the ghettos, girls in the ghettos, just rape rampant all over the show, where it is that these guys unfettered literally can have their field day with schoolgirls because nobody's coming for them. Nobody's taking care of them. It's every man for himself. When you walk home from school, you better run before Papa Action catches up with you. Yizo Yizo was done in the late 90s. So apartheid was already over, but it depicts exactly what used to happen to pretty much almost every township in South Africa in the days of apartheid to girls. Just these little local gangsters that used to have a field day with the bodies of young teenage girls, and there was nothing they could do. So I guess we have found then the name or the term for the minor attracted persons We have found the name for them that literally look for women that are exactly like schoolgirls in school uniform. We can call them jack rollers. This guy's a jack roller. Give him a jack roller. That's what he is. He is a jack roller that is looking for a girl wearing a little stuffy school uniform that doesn't have a responsible mom, doesn't have a responsible dad, doesn't have a responsible brother, doesn't have an ecosystem taking care of her. But she needs money. She needs to buy Goda after school. She needs to do ABC. So he's going to rock up and flail a couple of notes in her face. And if she says no, he's going to take her anyway. So you either accept, you see, that's the dilemma of these young girls in the Kasi. They either accept and, gently just let themselves get raped, or they can do it the hard way where they are resisting. So when you resist, you're just one of those that are playing hard to get. But when you allow yourself to be had, at least you're disciplined. This guy has been with women that he has jackrolled in the past that were calm when he was busy raping them. They were calm, they were relaxed, they were content with him giving them coins after he did what he wanted with them. And then he met one that was resisting, and he's like, I'm sorry, no one says no to me because my name is Papa Action. So here it is that this jackroller, that's what's good. Latter part of apartheid day, except it's 2023, and the woman he's dealing with is 39 years old. He's like, I'm going to get you. He is so forceful. He is such a criminal. He is so used to this life that he has given me a violent amount of PTSD because I'm not used to these kinds of guys. He is a new grain. He's a new thing. And the menace and the beast that he is came into my life because I just so happened to be in the middle of a civil war in my country. I just so happened to be in the middle of a spiritual war in my nation where South Africans are drunk. They are inebriated with sorcery. They can't think straight. They're throwing their families to the dogs. They're fighting each other in the cosmos. There is no order. And this war has made them uncomfortably disregard and neglect the fact that women are being raped all over the show by Papa Action and Jack Brown. This dude is a Papa Action Parokwa America. He is used to little women that have been abandoned, that he is the only one taking care of them. Used to it. He is so used to getting his bread buttered on both sides in this regard, getting away with murder, that this time around with me, he just thinks that, like I said, I'm playing hard to get. According to this little animal, I am playing hard to get. Can you believe it? Ish. I don't know why this phone is not responding. I'm trying to alter lighting. Yeah, anyway, whatever. These women in the country, in and of themselves, they've been raped by a couple of Papa Actions, and now for those reasons they are hopeful that the day is going to arrive when I'm another victim of jack rolling. All that they've reduced me to is a battered wife, that precisely because I'm battered, I have no support. They've made me rogue, and now when I talk, they just look at me. I'm literally like, there was this episode of Being Mary Jane where she was reporting on some earth event, some weather event happening in Fort Lauderdale. And there was this couple that did not want to leave because of a weather advisory. And Mary Jane and the crew basically gave this couple a camera. They left them with a camera to record their experiences during the storm. And Mary Jane was like, no, I refuse to do the story. This is not going to be one of those videos where we watch people die. Every time I think about my situation, every time I look at my circumstance from the vantage point of God, he tells me that it's similar to what Mary Jane was saying in Fort Lauderdale. They've given you a camera to record yourself dying. And there are, in heaven, how we feel is the way that Mary Jane felt when she was told, cover the story anyway of the couple in Fort Lauderdale. Cover them while they, in the middle of a storm, are basically recording the potential for them to be caught live on TV, dying because the storm caught up with them and burnt their house alongside with the camera. That's what's good. The Lord keeps describing my situation as that one in Fort Lauderdale, where people have given me a camera and come and tune into me every single day. And what they're doing is watching a woman die. I'm in the Hunger Games arena. That's probably what's going on here. Where a bunch of insensitive, ill-spirited people are watching a woman die when this is entirely avoidable. I am in a duel, a battlefield, with a menace from America that has done this to my face in the spirit. And all that people are doing is watching a woman die, hoping to see when she's going to finally do it. At what point is she going to go silent in her ministry? Does that mean she's dead or she's given up? What, like if I were to go dead, lying, quiet in my ministry, the only thing that people who follow me every single day who keep on watching me die would think is that she might be dead. And indeed, just like that episode in Being Mary Jane with the Fort Lauderdale experiment or whatnot, this guy in America happened upon my content during a time when I was still underground, okay? And he also thought that I probably died because I suddenly disappeared from YouTube because he saw the spiritual war around me was so extensive. And when I returned, he was like, oh, she's not dead. So if that little menace could assume that I was dead because I was recording, and all of a sudden I stopped, if the first thing that came to the top of his brain was I'm probably dead because he observed the spiritual war that I was going through in my videos, how much more then is everyone watching my content basically waiting for me to die? If I were to suddenly disappear, they would be like ones who are burping popcorn after a movie has suddenly abruptly ended and now they're going home wondering, gee, I wonder if there's going to be a sequel. Yeah, I'm being watched to die. So congratulations, America, for worsening the spiritual war in my country, for bringing your little menace to my doorstep as Ijekrola. Hey, so the LGBTQIA plus community MAPS now also has Jekrola in it, a sexual preference by men where they literally go out of their way to find women that are hidden, buried, unloved, so they can come in and marry them. Either gently, you can do this nicely, or if you resist, understand I'm taking it anyway. And this one in America initially wormed his way into my life and I was abiding. I was willing to talk with him. But then when I started to tell him, get the step in, don't talk to me, leave me alone, you and your witchcraft, that's when he was like, no one says no to me. No one says no to me. I'm gonna take you because no woman has ever successfully said no to me. You just so happen to be the most stubborn case, but no one says no to me. So, I mean, I guess I'm sorry you had to learn the hard way that if you had rejected me from the get-go, you would have been had anyway. I was going to harass you. I was going to rack you. I was going to do what under heaven I want to do. And initially, you didn't know that, so you accommodated me. I'm a pookie, and all my women are content with the fact that I'm a criminal. This dude had a whole plan, do you understand, to make me accept that he has got to be shoddy and underhanded in how he makes money and how he gets bread. He wanted to take me broken, barren, and destituted with nothing to my name and say, do you want to keep eating or what? Do you want to keep buying shoes or what? Do you want your skincare creams or what? Do you want me to give you money to buy your damn tampons or what? Yeah, well then shut up. Don't ask me where I get my money from. Indeed, that's what caused us to break up. He wouldn't answer my questions. I like to say I lost my job and people lost their minds. I've been abandoned in poverty, and so now I am being looked at by a typical pookie as a prospect for a bride. The kind of woman that's going to be content with being a man that she is aware is a criminal. Not only that, he also just so happens to be HIV positive, so I guess let's go into the future together and die from full-blown AIDS, and since I will have gotten it from you, I'll be the one nursing you on your deathbed. Yeah, that's what's good. Imagine that. A woman coming from so much glory and she ends up being Pookie's girlfriend. Pookie's beaten up woman. The girlfriend or the wife of a person that keeps on putting so many scars on their face that they end up deboto. Women who lose their beauty because of the fact that they're dating men who won't stop beating them up. The kids of which, at some point once they've grown up, get out of home and they find their battered mom heavying. Misery loves company, but the opposite is also true. People can't stand the miserable when they're not miserable. So the kids of abused women tend to abandon their abused mom. Only go look at the case of Tina Turner. Nobody wants to be around Rogue. Nobody wants to be around a woman with this for a face. No one wants to be the friend of a battered wife. And I was about to marry a man that would have made me an even worse off persecuted woman than I currently am. I am already going through a lot, but this time around I was going to be with a man that every so often just throws a vase in my face, takes me to hospital and says, but why did you push me to do that? He's already beating me up in the spirit. Can you imagine what this guy would have done in the physical? And because I'm rebellious, according to him, because I'm stubborn, I'm not as slow or easygoing as all of his other women, or as his 2 ex-wives, the second wife of which, by the way, left him because he wouldn't stop going to jail. He wouldn't stop going to prison. And so when he went to prison the next time, she was like, what, am I supposed to wait for you for what, life? Am I supposed to wait for you for 20 years? No, I'm sorry, I don't have children and I want to go be a baby mama. So she went on right ahead and had 2 kids by 2 different baby daddies. And by the time COVID-19 set that guy free from prison, she was the baby mama from 2 different guys. That was like literally this woman, he had already gone to prison once before. And after 2 years got out, he went back again because he committed another crime. And this time around, this woman was like, I'm sorry, no. What, you want me to just wait? And she didn't wait. So that's the only reason why that Pookie girlfriend and him got a divorce. Otherwise, she was a woman that was happy to just keep on keep on visiting a man in prison. But this time around, the term was too long until America cut it short. Until America set an animal free. And now this animal wants a snob from South Africa that's been abandoned. Pookie. So, LGBTQ community. Here is your brand spanking new entrant. After you have brought minor attracted persons into the agenda, America, oh America, with your wickedness. What's going on here? This phone. America, oh America, since you have brought in yet more incredible, disgusting, disgraceful animals into the ecosystem, allow us here in Africa, therefore, to add to your already heinous acronym the word Jackroll. So, it's currently LGBTQIA plus hashtag squiggly sign dash MAPS and JACKROLL, otherwise known as Jack Roll. That's what's good. Oh no, wait, make that JACKROLLER, Jack Roller. That's what's good. You like to add to it? Now I'm not interested in using blast to describe everything else that's coming in. This is a new kind of sexuality, and since you are the country of the sexual revolution, we are now introducing into your sexual diversification, because you don't want to discriminate, a new acronym, and it's Jack Roller. Proper like the whole word. Minor attracted person and Jack Roller. They could be the same thing, but you see, the minor attracted person, it's very hard to call him a map because of the fact that I'm not a minor. They just like women like minors. They like hauntings, like ghosts, and so for those reasons, they go bump in the night in the lives of children who are scared of the monster under the bed. They reduce women to the status of children so they can come in and take care of them. Your little Jack Roller from California is properly emptying my life so he could come in by force. He is so used to getting what he wants by force that he is coming in my life by emptying it. Everything I start, he blocks it. My ministry blocked growth over there. Every YouTube channel of mine that he finds, he puts a spell on it. Everything I say, he monitors it and puts a spell on it. My fitness content, spell on it. And now he's trying to kill me. And every day I have to deal with suicide ideation by doing videos like this. Your Jack Roller is busy with me, so you're in dire need of being innovated afresh, oh America. A brand spanking new acronym called Jack Roller, because they're rolling around in your America, flying into other continents, and trying to take women that are going to take their rubbish in their stride. And if they don't want to do it, they are going to, by attrition, insist. So this little Jack Roller of yours, he's put some blue eyes on me, and I'm already a battered woman. So for those reasons, I'm already avoided by society. People are watching me die. They've been doing it, and now the odds have been increasingly taken away, even away from me. You know how Effie Tinkett in the Hunger Games says, "May the odds be ever in your favor." Well, now this guy has reduced my odds significantly of surviving this thing. He has significantly reduced my survival potential in these Hunger Games. That's what's good. So now that you have endured me through an even harder Hunger Games experience, now that you have endured me through an even harder Squid Game experience, now that you who are watching a woman die has made the odds against her even more impossible, stacked them against her by bringing me your Jack Roller, I'm then just going to put it out there, America, that should I end up dead, understand, you will have been the ones to tip me over the edge. You will have killed me, the US of A. Why? Because in Africa, I was surviving the spiritual war. I was fighting them with weapons I know. They were a devil I freaking knew. But then America decided to censor my freaking content. They shadow banned me and made a Jack Roller, the kind of man that literally digs for diamonds in the rough, to find me. Upon finding me, then insisting, even though I was a snob historically that does not know how to be with a gangster and never accepted that life, but try to make me basically change my lifestyle because apparently I was too poor to be too iffy and pinicky and choosy. This guy decided that he's going to convert me into these ghetto females that he's been with all his life, that embrace rape in their stride and so far as it looks consensual, and that also keep on going back to a man that puts all these blue eyes on their faces. Yeah. You brought that little animal into my life. Bewitched the crap out of my content did that man do. I was still thriving anyway despite his witchcraft, because all we do as Christians is just pray. And stuff gets delivered. We remove strongholds. We fight entities. But I cannot fight in the spirit with prayer things that are not spiritual. That is human beings. YouTube is the one that made the freaking decision to press a button and stopped my growth. Facebook made a decision to stop my growth. They're the ones that shadow banned me.
You made a decision to censor me for whatever reason. I have a feeling it has everything to do with the fact that I'm an African, and you are deliberately trying to block the growth of other people's countries on your platform so America can stay strong. And before you shadow banned the living daylights out of me, you then unleashed on me one of your monsters. You set a monster free out of prison to abuse me with witchcraft while I cannot escape. You've put me in a 4x4 cell where I am trying to run away by finding my independence again so that I can avoid wicked men. And I was growing nicely, and just as I got to 600 subscribers, all of a sudden my content stopped growing. Just as I got to 1,000 followers on Facebook, all of a sudden my content stopped growing. That was not the work of witches. They're not that powerful. It was the pressing of a button by a human being that made a decision that there is nothing I will ever be able to do with my life. And whatever is the reason that you have targeted me for, bottom line is, should I die, you filthy Americans, you must understand this thing. Everybody is going to know that you killed me because I was surviving African insanity. I was surviving African abuse. But then America not only shadow banned me, but they unleashed their beast on me. America, you not only shadow banned me, but you unleashed an animal on me. The animal, that Jack Rolla, that is sitting in California right now, out of prison when he is supposed to be, never mind in prison, but in solitary freaking confinement. That little beast. I've had another one in South Africa a couple of years ago who was harassing me. Like I said, he's a Jack Rolla, precisely because there was no love in my life. But I survived him. You know why? Because I am a spiritual warrior. I stayed strong. I kept myself in a bunch. And I still strived to basically get to the next day because I trusted God to help me along. I was able to survive yet another Jack Rolla from South Africa. Meaning that I've got it in me to survive whatever monstrous beast this animal in America is. I have it in me. All I gotta do is pray. All I gotta do is fast. His witchcraft gets knocked out the way easily. But he keeps on throwing these spells at me because, like I said, he likes to find diamonds in the rough. This random idiot is a gold digger. That's what he is. And he digs for gold in places where he's not even allowed. Trespassers basically get prosecuted in that place. But at night, like the bandit that he is, Uyanyonyoba like Pink Panther, and goes to that field and mines for gold anyway. He is into ill-gotten gain. He has been stealing all his life. And I've been dealing with such thieves. All of them, like literally witches are like thieves. They're just these bandits all over gold mines in the countries of the world, stealing from people. But if you're a warrior Christian, if you are a fighting Christian into praying, fasting, and all that jazz, you knock them out really quickly. So this here might be a spiritual matter, but more than anything, it is about a country that is trying to hold on to its power as a superpower to a point where they will literally put on death row everybody on earth. Everybody on earth, just so you can maintain your superpower status. You're trying to stay strong as a country at the expense of Africans. I've been persecuted by my country as a South African, and I'm trying to find online streams of making money so I can survive exploitation. And America's like, no, you're not going to grow. So, like I said, while I can survive that beast of yours that you set free out of a cage, how in the world am I supposed to survive when every platform that I try to make money on refuses to let me get even one follower? When it is obvious that I am too damn talented to be ignored by the world. When it is obvious that YouTube is doing this to me. When it is clear that Facebook is doing this to me. How can I fight that? So one thing you must understand, you who is surveilling me at Facebook, at YouTube, and all these other social media platforms that refuse for Africans to grow because you're holding on to your messed up power that's already out of your hands because God has taken his favor away from you, America. Understand that if I die, I will be a taboo, and it's going to cause a global riot. You can trust that. If I end up dying, Africans are going to know that YouTube caused me to die. You must understand that. If I end up dying, America, you who have made people watch the Squid Game, you who have made people watch the Hunger Games, you who have made the world watch me pass away. If I end up dying, there will be an investigation. People will wonder why such excellent content got nowhere. They will notice that suddenly one day I stopped growing, and they will enter into a deep dive to find out what's going on, and you will literally have my blood on your hands, oh stupid America. That red, blue, and what is this white flag of yours? The red portion of it is going to be the blood dripping from all the nations. You are killing Earth's citizens. I am trying to flee from persecution, and I'm trying to find ways online to make money. I'm not even trying to talk to your Americans. I'm trying to talk to South Africans. Unfortunately, however, I can only go through YouTube. I can only go through Facebook. I can only go through your platforms. And in trying to make money, my content, which is very good in comparison to some of the rubbish that you proliferate on this earth, you decided to block me. all the people that you're tipping like dominoes, understand, America, it is stacking up against you. You've already got so much disfavor against you from the world. So many people are so pissed off at you as a country that if I died, understand, I'm a freaking darling. Y'all must get that. People might be treating me like rubbish, but I am sweet, I am lovable, I am adorable. There is just so much about me to love. And politically, I'm on to something. The things I speak are heartwarming, heart-grabbing, reaching. I am getting to matters of societal freaking concern. That's what you must understand. I'm not just some fluffy dancer online. I'm not just some person doing a mukbang or putting makeup on. I'm speaking about weighty matters of the earth. And if I die because you allowed your little monster and your beast that was released from a cage to finally cast the last death curse on me until I committed suicide, if I died, America, everybody's gonna know that you shadow banned the crap out of me, you creepy freaks that are holding on to your power. You shadow banned me so violently that I could find nowhere to look whilst living in a country full of Satanists that frankly everybody needed to see just what they does. Everybody has to see what devil worshippers do to the world in order to find freedom, and you would have blocked that from happening. And now it'll be a tough pill to swallow to watch any of my content because now I'm freaking dead. If I die from your little caged animal in California, everybody's gonna know that YouTube and America at large is responsible for my murder. Nobody else but America, because I have been able to survive Africa up to this point. It is currently America that has put me on a freaking cold bed. Do not say I didn't warn you.